The summer exhibition is important to people, to artists, in the same way, I suppose, as the Olympics is to an athlete.
It's the most important thing in my life, really, getting something ready for the Academy and hopefully getting it in. And when the birds start singing in the spring, I know I really ought to be hard at it, working on something.
I had some work exhibited 2 years ago, which is the only time I've submitted work. But it was obviously quite reassuring at the time that I was doing something right.
Rob Perry, Cheryl Fountain and Oliver Clegg have all shown before at the summer exhibition, so they've got a bit of an idea of what the judges could be looking out for. Which, if Rob's got it right, might just be a landscape painted in situ in a field in the West Midlands.
The immediacy of working on the spot, it gives a kind of a vigour to the work that you just couldn't get in the studio because you'd be too comfortable. You can't waste any time, you've got to go for it. The roots of my work in for the Royal Academy is this particular landscape. Because when I was about 25, I think, I started on a really exhaustive topographical study and I sent it down to the Academy. First time, bang, in it went. And so of course I went down on varnishing day or the opening day and I thought, that's it, Rob, you've cracked it, Royal Academy, here we go. And I've been working at it ever since and I've just never got in again.
Sadly for Rob, that was 27 years ago. Cheryl Fountain has a rather better record. Her paintings have been selected for the summer exhibition almost every year since 1975.
I'm working on an alphabet. I'm hoping to get at least as far as H, and each letter is going to be a still life. At the moment I'm working on G for glass. It's a little bit childlike, but I've been collecting strange bits for ages with this in mind. And not necessarily objects I like. So here I've got some glass birds, which I must say I loathed when I found them on a market stall, but I'm really getting quite to like them now.
Oliver Clegg is pinning his hopes on 2 new etchings he's making for the show. The technique he's using, copper plate etching, has been used by printmakers for centuries.
I think what interests me in printmaking is the fact that it's a manual process as opposed to being digital. You have this kind of unique quality, and also the fact that it's this old antiquated tradition which is becoming less and less frequently used.
Oliver's printing onto the pages of children's books. It's a messy, physical process.
So I don't need to go to the gym.
But the effort seems to be worth it.
Yeah, it's looking good. No kind of major problems as yet. I think it's pretty good, yeah.
Yeah, it's good.
By the Royal Academy's April deadline for submissions, all the pieces are finished. Cheryl's putting in her alphabet and another still life. She's getting them to Piccadilly by train. Rob's chosen his favourite landscape painting for this year's submission. And he's driving it down to London at the crack of dawn.
So I was out to be early, but I see that this morning there's already quite a few people who've jumped the gun and beaten me to it.
Oliver, whose studio is only across town from the Academy, is sending his 2 etchings by courier. He's being rather cool about the whole thing.
It's going to be interesting to see how the judges react to the work. I mean, I've got lots of other things to be getting on with in the meantime, so I probably won't lose too much sleep over it.
At the Academy, the others aren't feeling quite so relaxed. They hand in their paintings, and all they can do now is wait.
An anxious time, really. OK for the first few weeks, and then you start watching for the postman and hiding from the postman.
You just forget all about it now for the next month or so until you hear the good or the bad news. Every time that I get rejected, it makes me more determined to put in next year. It doesn't dispirit me or demoralise me. It makes me more determined.